Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. We might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at across in the last 3 years are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, because they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Diablo asks, why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentle way.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and the scene walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive pardon, whether he can issue The president's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
that
you
would be a
can't?
gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse
President-
of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, J.B. Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, J.B. Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt, or
Ah,
at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
J.B.
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he get a
about this.
pardon also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that
the
committee?
seeking of pardons is
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. You're going to condemn that pardon.
Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people, commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One who, in fact, one drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators linking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The audacity!
Of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Like the boy asked, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Diablo, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. I bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
End of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Night.
There's a flood down in Texas. Yeah, ED, that was the first thing I thought too. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. Welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel, where it's the only flood I'm dealing with is the backyard pool. Not really a flood, just a body of water that's man-made. And unfortunately, there's a whole lot of stuff going around about this flood in Texas and who to blame and whether or not that was man-made, because some people are blaming Peter Thiel, which I don't know. You know, oh, they were seeding clouds. They were doing some cloud seeding tests and whatever. I don't know what the fuck. But yeah, I am I disappointed? Or just knew it was expected that immediately, you know, after disaster, if it's in Trump's watch, it's going to be Trump's fault. And boy, the fingers were flying. And I'm losing my faith in humanity, if I had any in the first place. It's just crazy. So I'm reading stuff this morning, and I'm going, God, these people are just ghouls. But you know, anything for power and clout and whatnot. So anyway, I'm gonna we'll just do our regular. I'm not gonna do anything. We're gonna do a regular show day. First, though, let me acknowledge that we already have our first sponsor of the day, and that's Avocados Diablo. You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Dropping a small pool in the tip jar. And I did name the stream based on a album, one of my favorites of all time, Texas Flood, and Avocados Diablo caught that. It says, Texas Flood? I blame Stevie Ray Vaughan. There, that's out of my system. Well, I'm glad you got that out of your system. You know, I blame Stevie Ray Vaughan for his awesomeness. That's all I can blame him for. But as we say good morning, everybody, also Avocados Diablo is first in the chat and gets the bell. You, sir, you. Also, good morning, Resolute Germ, Lord Stanhope, Johnny Boomer Tech, already up and at 'em. You better be. Get that shit going. Anyway, JB's in the house. Louie is here. Louie. Also, the Pope Tyrannus III, the blessings of the divine dead. May he fill your day with joy and happiness. A message from the Pope. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Also, good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg, Renee Mayette. What's up? Got the flag going there because, 249 years of USA. Lord Stanhope's in the house. What's up? Attack Alpaca. Green Badger Outdoors, Simon Wilkins, good morning, and that's it so far. Hopefully we'll see more. What's about Miami Beach? Oh my God. Stop it. If the Jews controlled the weather, every day would be like Miami Beach. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, don't call them ghouls. They are fucking monsters. Ghouls are blessed and undead. Oh, okay. I got you, Tyre. So, Somnambule Nation. Jimmy Vaughn is the one still among us. Eyeball him. Oh, because, yeah, he's getting revenge for the passing of his brother. Was Jimmy Vaughn, I can't remember, was he in the Fabulous Thunderbirds? Didn't he? I know he had his own band for a while, but wasn't he also in the Fabulous Thunderbirds? Or what was the band that Jimmy Vaughn was in? I'm trying to remember. Yes, okay, it was the Fabulous Thunderbirds. I like them. Wrap it up, doodle-doo, I'll take it, doodle-doo, wrap it up, doodle-doo, I'll make it, doodle-doo. Anyway, so we have our regular bevy of news items today, but mostly we're going to talk about some of the reaction to the flooding in Texas, because I don't know why I torture myself this way. I just do. By the way, if you're not following me on Locals, if you're not following me on Locals, it's probably because I didn't send out my notifications on Locals. Did I even do it? I did do a tweet, didn't I? Yes, I did. I just didn't do the Locals one today. Well, that's brilliant, Marty. Way to go. Okay, well, sorry about that. And you probably hate me now. Oh, good Lord. Why is this not going in? There we go. They're very annoying. Give me a moment, because now I'm just feeling like I got to do this, because I try to do this every day. Oh, God. Mouse is acting up again. There we go. Copy, paste. There we go. So anyway, they moved some shit around here. That's new. Hang on. There we go. Ring and post. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. And that's all I got to do. Copy, paste, and done. All right. What was it? Where was I? Let me thank the people who shared the show. I appreciate that. Obviously, Somnambul Nation shared the show. Always beats me to it. Now it's falling apart here. There we go. Thank you for posting the show. I appreciate that greatly. And also we got this. President Ribbit hopes you enjoyed your fireworks and have retained all your fingers. Let's go. Yeah. This year, you know what's weird? This year, I did not see any fireworks on the 4th of July. I was sound asleep by like 8:30. 4th of July, we had the grandmas over, we had my daughter over, had her daughters over, and went in the pool and all that kind of stuff, and that was great. And made some hot dogs. Made a really nice little spread. It was just hot dogs and potato salad and stuff, but it was a cool 4th of July spread. My wife had these little flag napkins and 4th of July themed plates and stuff, and it was nice. And then unfortunately on Saturday we had to go to Iowa to one of my favorite cousins passed away, so we went down to Iowa. It was good to see family even under an awful occasion like that. And then we also went to then yesterday we had my daughter and her husband and the girls over again and some other friends, and we just hung out by the pool. So it was a nice weekend except for that middle part. And then hearing all this stuff about the flood just sucked. Anyway, thanks also to as I ramble on. Reaction Puerto Rico. What's always in theme? I had a Stevie Ray Vaughan gif playing a guitar, so Snoopy is the next best thing. Also, our daily Ric Flair, woo, from Ty Alexander. Appreciate that. Also, The Undertaker, Resolute Germ. Finally, a wrestler I know. One of the great stories in professional wrestling. I remember when he was, what do they call him? Like Mad Mark back in the day. He was very boring. And then, and he came into the WWE and they gave him this new persona, The Undertaker, which excited everybody. And he just now he's pretty much a legend in wrestling. Also, Uncle Hotep retweeted the show. Thank you, Uncle Hotep. I don't know if you're here, but I appreciate it. And also, Ty Alexander, link in description, aka Somnambul Nation, Resolute Germ, and Reaction Puerto Rico. You lovely island, I see you dropped in the chat. I think, did I see you in there? No, I don't see you there. You're probably here somewhere. And then, a new samurai one from JB. This is more a what do you call that? Anime samurai? Okay, there you go. All right, enough goofing around with that stuff. Thank you for everyone who's tweeting out the show. Tweet out the show. Share it somewhere on social media. Let's get a few more people in here. That'd be great. Plague Trucker Zach's in the house. What's up? Mark Callis, Mean Mark Callis, Texas Red. Yeah. Mean Mark. That's terrible. Undertaker versus the Berserker. The Berserker. Who was the Berserker? Who was that? I don't even remember. My knowledge of wrestling wanes. Of course, I'm back from the day in the AWA when it was Vern Gagne and the High Flyers and Junkyard Dog and I don't know. There's a bunch of them. What's his name? San Martino. I can't remember his first name. Anyway, a little trivia there. Today, as far as today's holiday of the day, obviously we were going to talk about 4th of July weekend, but today is World Chocolate Day. Oh my goodness. Yeah, baby. It's World Chocolate Day. World Chocolate Day is a fairly new holiday. It was first celebrated in 2009. The date of July 7th was chosen because it was on this day in 1550 that chocolate first arrived in Europe. So we're centering white people again, but that's okay because it's chocolate. I love it. Sorry. And tomorrow is World Diabetes Day. Thank you. Avocados Diablo. Hello, TC. So yeah, happy World Chocolate Day. If you want to know about the other holidays, I'm dropping the calendar in here. There's other things like National Macaroni Day, National Strawberry Sundae Day, and Global Forgiveness Day, National Father-Daughter Take a Walk Day, Tell the Truth Day, National Rock and Roll Day, National Dive Bar Day, National Dora Day. Dora the Explorer? Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them. So anyway, if you want to know what the holidays are, the holiday calendar is in the links. I'll drop that in the chat at the end of the show. Nude Recreation Week. Oh my goodness, I didn't hear about that. Also today is Ringo Starr's birthday. Happy 85th birthday to Ringo Starr. Apparently he put out some video where at noon on his birthday every year you're supposed to say peace or some shit like that. But anyway, yeah, Ringo's still going strong. He's still out there talking on the internet and stuff. Someone says he's more than just a drummer. He gave rock and roll his groove and reminds us all that peace and love never go out of style. Here's to the heartbeat of the Beatles. Happy birthday, Ringo Starr. So there you go. I just, I never was a fan of Ringo. I just, the four Beatles, he was the one. I mean, everyone likes a drummer, but I don't care. But anyway, but obviously a legend in music. All right, moving on. Also, it was 4th of July weekend. I already told you what I did. I hope you all did something fun. Lots of people talking about stuff here. Someone here, Carlos, in the Spanish voice, Lopez, says, I've seen so much negativity about the 4th of July. I came to this country from Venezuela chasing opportunity, safety, and a better future. In 2005, we became United States citizens. Yeah. Independence Day will always be special in the Lopez house. We are proud to be Americans. And Mr. Lopez, we are proud of you too, because you did it the right way and, all that stuff. So anyway, but in Portland, as I was scrolling through this, in Portland, at the ICE building last night, the anti-4th of July direct action extremists gathered in larger numbers than the past several nights. It was advertised as a party, but soon declared a riot. Imagine living in a war zone that the city and police will do nothing about. Yeah, a lot of the dickheads are out in force in places. Now this is, whoa. Now what is this? San Diego never got enough credit for accidentally firing off 7,000 fireworks all at once in 2012. Might have been the greatest 4th of July display of all time. All 7,000 went off at once. Holy moly. And then let's see. Video of a naked Trump proudly marching with the Lincoln County Democrats for a 4th of July parade around Pound, Maine. How is this in any way appropriate for the young children in attendance? It's not. Crazy motherfuckers. Hello, Rick Ashbringer. What's up? Anyway, so if you want to see the 4th of July stuff going on, it's in the links. It'll be in the links, of course. What else we got here? Just a quick rundown. Ozzy Osbourne did his last show last night in London, apparently. Or Black Sabbath, excuse me. I don't know if Ozzy Osbourne, but Black Sabbath made history at their final show. Okay, let's see the thread about this. So this is how Ozzy came out on stage. By the way, if you don't know who Ozzy Osbourne is, what's wrong with you? He's a legend. Although I think, dare I say, a little overrated. Come on, let's be real. I mean, they're entertaining and, whatever, but his terrible singing voice, they just wrote some good shit. Anyway, this is how Ozzy came out. Came out on a big old chair. Probably because... Anyway, and then Black Sabbath performing Paranoid one last time to end their final show. So they finished the show with Paranoid. Great song. They also performed War Pigs, Crazy Train, Iron Man, Mr. Crowley, they did their hits, man. They went wild. Even, oh, wait a minute. Not even Brian May himself, the legendary Queen guitarist, he did not want to miss the farewell of one of the greatest bands in history. But and there's Slash and what's Steven Tyler, excuse me, Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones. They were all at the concert. Yeah. So anyway, congratulations to Black Sabbath finally getting to retire. Holy shit! How long have they been around? Since 1968, I think. Crazy and Mr. Crowley aren't Black Sabbath. Well, still, it's Ozzy, okay? That's, you know what I mean. Anyway, also over the weekend, something that is completely befuddling is the little Epstein announcement. Now, I don't know what's going on here, but apparently there's when was this? Is this yesterday?
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now.
This is back when she said this. Remember when she said this?
Directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president.
Okay, you got that, right? She said that way back when that was going to be probably released and whatnot, right? And so people are mad because apparently over the weekend they said they're not going to do that. And people are every part of the aisle, every part of the planet are wondering what the actual F is going on with that. Like, why? Why aren't they? Is there some, oh shoot, I hit the wrong button there. Let's go back to Epstein. Here we go. Epstein. There we go. There's a lot of people mad. Robbie Starbuck, definitely on the right. Pam Bondi said the Epstein client list was on her desk and review for release to the public just a few months ago. Now the DOJ she leads claims there is no Epstein client list. Sorry, but this is unacceptable. Was she lying then or is she lying now? We deserve the answers because here's what they said. As a part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure that the review was thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where the responsive material may have been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. The files related to the Epstein include large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse material and other pornography. Teams of agents, analysts, attorneys, and privacy and civil liberties experts combed through the digital and documentary evidence with the aim of providing as much information as possible to the public while simultaneously protecting victims. Much of the material is subject to court-ordered sealing. Only a fraction of this material would have been aired publicly had Epstein gone to trial, as the seal served only to protect victims, did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Through this review, we found no basis to revisit the disclosure of those materials and will not permit the release of child pornography. The systematic review revealed no incriminating, quote, client list, end quote. There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties, which I would say, bullshit. That's bullshit. Bullshit. What the actual, they had just this part up here where they say, the files relating to Epstein include a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors, appear to be minors, and over 10,000 downloaded videos of images of children, blah, 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 blah. How could they not have any images of people involved in the stuff with those children? And how, so I'm not buying it. There are some very, very, very powerful people in the world who do not want this disclosed. So lots of people are mad about it. 5 times agent. Everybody in politics is on the Epstein situation. Everybody, both sides, the people you like, the people you don't. There's no other explanation. They are all guilty. Exactly. Spot on. Let's see what this guy says. I bet he's saying something similar. And I am beginning to think. One, there's some national security issues. And maybe even there's just too many powerful people. There are too many powerful people involved. I'm just involved. Let's see what this guy says.
What's up, everybody?
What's
Zeke
up?
Here.
Yeah, hi, Zeke.
So the FBI and Department of Justice just came out with this memo.
Mm-hmm.
And this memo right here states that they're closing the Epstein case. There are no files, that he unalived himself in his cell, and there's no list. There's no list.
After Pam Bondi said she was had it on her desk.
Traffic anyone to anybody, which means I don't know why he's sitting in prison, but that whole trial shouldn't have happened. Because there were no victims, there were no suspects, no crime was committed.
None at all.
And guess what? I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm calling bullshit on all of it.
Yep.
And I like Dan Bongino. I like Cash Patel. I like Pam Bondi.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm calling bullshit.
But now
on all of this.
I'm questioning all of them,
Including
including the president. Every one of them.
This man sat in that cell.
Every
with two
one of them.
guards watching him inside of a
Why did he kill himself if he didn't do anything? I gotta wonder.
Prison. And the lights just happened to go out. The camera just happened to stop working. The two guards just happened to both fall asleep at the same time.
Take me to
or
church.
Both go on break at the same time. Whatever the story is this week.
Yep.
And this guy waited until that exact moment and said, aha, here's my opportunity. And unalived himself in the cell. That's what you're telling me.
Soak it in.
That's what you're telling me. That all this just
soak
came
it
together.
in.
Oh, and by the way, there were no victims in this, and there were no suspects,
None.
no criminals,
Just
no crime occurred during this whole thing. That's what you're telling me.
Bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are watching a deep state cover-up right in front of our eyes. And you know what? What's disappointing is I voted.
Somebody got threatened. Maybe more than one. How the other part of this that still to this day, I'll let him finish, but I'm going to say this right now. How is it that not a single person who has been on this island has ever said a word? You notice that? None of them. Nobody's saying, you know what? I saw some shit that's going on there that I knew was wrong. Not a staff member, not a celebrity, not a government official. All those people that we knew who took the flights there. None of them saw anything except, well, although Donald Trump did turn him in at one point. That's the only person that I know of who's done that. Hello, Selecta Boy. What's up, Selecta Boy? Yeah, not one. Anyway, let me let this guy finish.
For this whole thing to be exposed.
Yep.
And on this front right here, Trump is not holding up to his end of the bargain. I got no problem saying that. I voted for him.
Right.
I support him. But on this, he's not holding up to
He's
his end of the bargain.
failing. This is a failure.
It makes me just have questions. You know, I'm not getting into this for politics. I'm not looking at this list like I want a certain part of the aisle to go to prison. I don't care who you are. If you are on that list,
yep,
you need
anybody
to go.
on the list, no matter what side of the aisle,
right now,
even
I'm not a conspiracy theory type of guy. I'm not, the moon landing was fake and this happened, and I'm not one of those type of guys. But on this,
the list that was on her desk,
we are watching a cover up right in front of our eyes, and I got questions, and you should too.
They said they had video.
Zeke Arkham got your 6.
So there you go. Anyway, 100%. 100%. So no child was ever trafficked by Epstein, and he was just a figment of our imagination like George Glass? Nice try, Jan. Yeah. It stinks to high heaven. The list was on her desk, or something was on her desk that she's going to go through it and expose. And I'm telling you, there's somebody way, way, way more powerful than anyone in our government that has something. He's got something on everybody. He's got something on everybody, because that list ain't coming out. And even after Epstein's dead, there is something crazy going on. Good morning, Woodcutter. What's up? Damn, who kicked your puppy? You don't like Ringo or Ozzy? I didn't say I didn't like them, Woodcutter. I did not say I didn't like them. I just said Ringo's not my favorite Beatle, but I said he's a legend. He is a legend in rock and roll. And Ozzy, I didn't say I didn't like him. I just said he's a little overrated. I'm not seeing it. But then I'm looking through the book that they played at that concert. I'm like, oh damn, they had some bangers on there. So anyway, I did not say I didn't like them. Just slightly over. Coming home, that was one of my favorite songs when I was in that age. 'Cause mama, I'm coming home. Hello, GDSOB. What's up? All right, let's oh, by the way, Axios is trending because of this whole Epstein thing. And according to Axios, the DOJ and FBI have wrapped up their investigation. Epstein died by suicide, and apparently there was never a client list. Well, they think we're brain dead. So they put out the whole DOJ letter here if you want to read the whole thing. I am, after all the hype and stuff on this, it's unbelievable that that this is what their story is now. Jeff Charles, I'm absolutely shocked that the government will come to this conclusion after all they promised to release this information, right? They couldn't possibly have lied, right? Bueller? They lied their ass off because I think Axios is the one who I guess had the exclusive. President Trump's Justice Department and FBI have concluded that they have no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Good. That's my best. What's that guy? The Emperor? Anyway, hello, Special Can Acid. On the top of my list of honorable mention favorite Canadians. Wait a minute. Special Can Acid says, what do you expect from the guy who likes the Temptations more than the Four Tops? You're testing my patience right now. I'm just saying. There's no contest. Temptations over the Four Tops. Although Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, you know that I love you. I do like that song. That was and Reach Out, that's a good song too. Anyway, Elon Musk is trending because he trends every day, and he's talking about having a new political party, the American Party, and here it is. I'm the reason America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of H-1B. Take a big step and fuck yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. Wow. This is such a profoundly un-American statement from the man who just formed the American Party. So is there anything that Elon will go to war for on behalf of the American citizens? Look, I have no problem with if people are coming here on an H-1B visa and bringing value to the United States. I don't have a problem with that. Immigrants, surely there's a lot of immigrants that do great things for us, right? And I don't mind even having the farm worker visas, but I just want people to do things the right way and figure out a way that it benefits all of us. And if it does, I'm great with it. But anyway, lots of people talking about this American Party he wants to form. Someone here says, and this is funny because people who have come out in support of Elon Musk's new America Party, Mark Cuban, Anthony Scaramucci, Brian Krasenstein, Thomas Massey, and Mike Pence. That's pretty much all I need to know about Elon Musk's new party. Oh, good Lord. Although Thomas Massey, I like Thomas Massey. I think Thomas Massey's principled, and he's right. He just pissed him off because he's not going to go with the flow. But anyway, people are talking about that in this American Party. 24 hours ago, people thought they joining a political party that was fresh and hip and represented something different. And now they find out it's being run by political retreads like Mike Pence and Mark Cuban. Oh, no, I am not touching that shit with a 50-foot pole. All right, enough of that. And then Republican parties, everyone's talking about those three parties. I'm not going to get it. You can go look at the threads. They're trending. Also, Ross Perot is trending because, you know what happened the last time we had a third-party candidate who did well. And look, I wish everyone would have voted for Ross Perot at the time. But he is the reason we got Bill Clinton. The only, not a majority. He got a plurality of votes, whatever. The electoral college, but Ross Perot kind of put a kink in. Yeah, Ross Perot is the reason George H.W. Bush lost his second term. Which, look, the more that I think about the Bush family, maybe we needed that shakeup anyway. But a lot of people, Elon is the new Ross Perot, which gave us 8 years of Bill and Hillary Clinton, and 8 more with Barry Obama. So, careful what you ask for, Elon. Excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in the microphone. Moving on. Texas. Let's talk about Texas and this flooding, because it's the biggest news, obviously, of the weekend. And it seems to be, all of a sudden, the most divisive news. And it's even more than Elon and Epstein, although the Epstein stuff is just, everyone's shaking their head going, what the fuck about that? But in Texas, they had this major flash flood, right? And there's a lot of people out here. Well, let's start here. The responses is what got me, and there's a bunch of them. And I'll pull up this article by PJ Media because this will show you some of it. Did Abbott switch out of the wheelchair for a kayak? Oh my God. So when tragedy strikes, you can always count on the left to weaponize heartbreak for political gain. The catastrophic flash floods in central Texas have already been the deadliest weather disaster of 2025 and has claimed over 50 lives, including 15 children. I think it's up to 85 lives now. Families are shattered. A Christian girls camp in Kerr County was virtually obliterated, with desperate searches underway for missing. Yet, as rescue teams work around the clock and communities cling to hope, the left sees the moment to launch a grotesque smear campaign against Donald Trump and red state governance. Instead of mourning the dead or supporting the heroic fast first responders, which there are many out there, tons of people coming from all over the country to help there, who've already rescued more than 850 people from the floodwaters, leftists are spinning the narrative that blames Trump-era budget decisions for the devastation. And it starts with some of the news channels. For example, CNN's Juliette Kayyem just couldn't help herself. This is an absolute tragedy. The question we have to ask is whether any ability to notify or warn was impacted by decreases DOGE on weather services. I don't know the answers, and yet we can't assume the camp may have been isolated, but I want to know if I were a parent, talking about the girls missing at the camp. Even the sitting U.S. Senator got, the blame game as blame Trump and Doge game. Quote, and this is Chris Murphy, who's basically, I think Chris Murphy and that call to action Democrat shill handle are the same people. But anyway, quote from Chris Murphy, accurate weather forecasting helps avoid fatal disasters. There are consequences to Trump's brainless attack on public workers like meteorologists. Now, we're going to get to the facts on this. In fact, the facts are, what they're saying is true. But they weren't alone. There were countless posts on social media spreading the narrative that cuts to the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration left Texans vulnerable, and that the National Weather Service failed to provide an adequate warning, which was false. And he's speaking to this Juliette Kayyem from CNN. Dana Lash says, "You're in Massachusetts. I'm in Texas. Let me clue you in. Multiple advanced warning, 12 hours plus in advance. Flash flood warning, 3 hours in advance. River surge by 26 feet in barely 45 minutes. No one needs any inexcusable politicizing of a horrible natural disaster." It was a natural disaster, dumb shits, who are already pointing fingers. He lowered the budget. That budget hasn't been implemented yet. Just signed it a few days ago. Someone here. This is bullshit. NOAA's National Weather Service office in Austin and San Antonio issued a flood watch over 12 hours before the flood and a flash flood warning 3 hours in advance. Find a new job. Your political analyst sucks. An analyst, because he's talking about this Rachel Bite Kofer or Bite Me, whatever. It's pretty clear that Trump's cuts to NOAA contributed to dozens of deaths in Texas from an underreported tropical storm. Sometimes the weather people cannot predict when a front or whatever, a system is going to just stop and not move. That happened in my town one time it was about 20 years ago. We drove home to Omaha, only to come back to find our neighborhood flooded. Like, fortunately, our house was above the flood level, but our neighbors flooded because a storm system stalled right over our little town, and it flooded several parts of our neighborhoods right around me. And it's like, you don't know when those are going to stop. It just stopped and rained in one place. We had like 22 inches of rain just in one spot over an 8-hour period. Can't predict that. Anyway, simply put, the facts don't support the left's fever dream, and even the left-wing outlets Wired had to admit it. Some local and state officials have said that insufficient forecasts from the National Weather Service has caught the region off guard. That claim has been amplified by pundits across social media who say that cuts to the National Weather Service, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, its parent organization, inevitably led to failure in Texas. But meteorologists who spoke to Wired say that the NWS accurately predicted the risk of flooding in Texas and could not have foreseen the extreme severity of the storm. Once more, they say that what the NWS did forecast this week underscores the need to sustain funding to the crucial agency. So it's not enough for them to politicize the tragedy, but they have to lie about it too. And the search for survivors continues. Liberal pundits and blue check Twitter warriors are busy concern trolling Texas, suggesting that this is what happens when you cut too much government. Some have even gone so far as to imply that red states somehow deserve this fate, as if the weather itself is a tool of cosmic justice for voting for the wrong guy. The sheer callousness is staggering. But it is the lefty playbook, page by page, exploit tragedy, distort the truth, and demonize political opponents. They did it after hurricanes, after wildfires, and now after floods. Never mind the facts, never mind the suffering. Now, by the way, I'm not going to give everyone on the right a pass on this too, because you remember when the fires were in California and some people were busy talking about, oh, this and that and whose fault. I mean, which in some ways in that case though there was some fault, because they did actually take away things that could have helped fight the fires. But the fires itself, you care about the people who are devastated by this, right? Anyway, the left response to the Texas floods is a disgrace, though. It's a reminder of just how far they'll go to push their agenda, even if it means dancing on the graves of the innocent. Texans deserve better. Americans deserve better. And the next time a disaster strikes, maybe, just maybe, the left could try offering compassion instead of contempt. Now, that's from the article. But let me find, let's see. Now, by the way, as far as what's happening as far as going right now is Trump has already signed a major disaster legislation or declaration after the Texas flooding. President Trump announced Sunday he signed a major disaster declaration for Kerr County, Texas, as the state reels from the deadly flooding that killed dozens that left more missing. So more details on that in the article. Also, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has warned that the region needs to brace for more life-threatening storms. Texas Governor Greg Abbott warned residents of the state to expect more storms to pose a danger to parts of central Texas over the next 24 to 48 hours. Abbott made the comment at the start of a Sunday press conference held in Austin to inform residents of the latest news regarding the devastating Independence Day floods that have resulted in the death of nearly 70 people. Let's see what this says here. There is no sound. Why is that? Oh, because this is just radar. But yeah, there's so anyway, Abbott advised residents to be mindful that the areas impacted by the floods in the central Texas region are waterlogged and saturated, making impacts of any rainfall over the next coming days more dangerous to residents from the San Angelo Concho Valley and other areas surrounding the Guadalupe River. So they are bracing for more problems. Also, the death toll is still rising. Sadly, the death toll from the devastating floods in Texas continue to rise. It's now at 70. I think it's at 85 now, as I read this morning. FEMA has been sent to Texas. Oh, FEMA still exists? I thought Trump cut FEMA. I thought there's no such thing as FEMA anymore. Oh, there is? Okay, never mind. FEMA has been sent to Texas, which may or may not be good news, as FEMA infamously withheld and seized aid for hurricane victims last year in the southeast. Hopefully, an entirely new management is in charge now for the flood disaster relief initiative, so that FEMA helps instead of augmenting the problem. At least 21 children are among the casualties of the flooding in Texas, according to Sheriff Larry Lita and ABC News. At least rescue efforts saved hundreds of people, but the bereaved family and friends of the victims need prayers. It's unclear how many homes have been destroyed. So there's more detail in there. And part of it is they hit this camp. Oh, didn't I already do this? Oh, yeah, I just opened that twice. Video show devastating impact of the deadly Independence Day floods. There's lots of, you can see much of the devastation of floods, which, it's typical of what happens in floods, I guess. There's a lot of damage, but this article has several videos. Trees ripped from the ground, town underwater, lots of flood damage. And in fact, it looks like the Chiefs owner Clara Hunt's family suffered a tragic loss in the devastating flooding in Texas over the weekend. Janie Hunt, the young cousin in the family, was one of the Camp Mystic campers who died in the incident. She was just 9 years old. There's tragedies for a lot of families right now, Now, I do want to go through some of the posts I see on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, and it varies to things where I go, oh, that makes sense, to you're an asshole. There's a lot of them, believe me. Someone here, to be clear, Kirk County was under a flood watch, then a flood warning as this tragedy unfolded. Despite what left-handed accounts will tell you, the funding to NOAA hasn't been cut yet. NOAA budget cuts effective fiscal year 2026, starting October 1st, 2025, pending congressional approval. So those cuts that they're saying, oh, see what happens when you cut funding? Well, first of all, the cutting of funding hasn't happened yet. And number two, this is a natural disaster. It's going to happen no matter what. And they did have warnings. They had first they had the watch, then they had the warning, and then the storm cell was way worse than they had predicted. Let's see how many propagandists walk back their BS about Trump budget cuts at NOAA killing children. The National Weather Service Office in New Braunfels, which delivered forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms. They were overstaffed. Where the office would typically have 2 forecasters on duty during clear weather, they had up to 5 on staff. There were extra people in here that night, and that's typical every weather service office. You staff up for an event and bring people in and overtime and hold people over. So they had plenty of people doing their job. Predicting weather is not perfect. And a lot of people replying to that Rachel Bithoff or whatever. And so lots of people are calling that. Now here's this call to activism account that I think is really just Chris Murphy. Trump just asked if any of the meteorologists he fired should be brought back to NOAA. Trump, I would think not. This was a thing that happened in seconds. No one expected it. Nobody saw it. Maybe because they were fucking fired. They were overstaffed. They had plenty of extra staff on that day. What up, Banks? How you doing? All weather forecasts come from computers. Doesn't matter if these were 20 people. Exactly. And what's weird, too, is Grok. Now, I got to tell you something, because Grok is trending because of this, too. Because a lot of people are asking Grok if this... Here it is. yes or no? Did 24 young girls die in Texas flooding in part because Trump gutted NOAA and the National Weather Service? And so this person asks Grok, and Grok says, yes, Trump's 2025 cuts slash NOAA's funding by 30% and staff by 17%, impairing forecasting accuracy. Underestimated rainfall contributed to inadequate alert for the flash floods that killed 24 and left 24 Camp Mystic girls missing, presumed dead or ongoing searches. Now, let me explain something to you about how Grok works, okay? Because I noticed this a long time ago. If you use Grok on X, it will kind of do an amalgamation of posts on X for its AI learning, unless you ask for deep search. And you have to do that by going into the little Grok thing in the middle here. You click that and you whatever. Grok just basically parrots whatever people are saying on the internet, on X, unless you do a deep search where it actually goes outside of X and looks up other stuff. So no, the 2025 cuts, which actually did not happen until July 4th and aren't going to into effect until October, had nothing to do with this. They had the proper warnings, things that happen, nothing to do with the Grok cuts, or the NOAA cuts. In fact, NOAA cuts were redundant, non-emergency bureaucratic positions pretending otherwise to try to flex while parents are searching for the children is ghoulish. Yes, that's another Dana Lash post. I want to find Neera Tannen, though, because Neera Tannen is big time on the left. Like, she's out there almost socialist left, right? And I found she's but she's as far left as she is, and as far as she doesn't like Trump and whatnot. Not near Tannen. What's her name? Turner. Nina Turner. Not Tina Turner. Here it is, Nina Turner. I want to show you something she posted, because I think she's getting pissed about some of the way people have been talking about this. Okay. Oh, did it go away? Oh, okay. I see what happened here. Maybe this is it. Oh no, did she take it down? I hope not. Anyway, she was making a point about how all these people bitching about Donald Trump and the flooding. I wonder if she pulled it away. Oh, I see. Now I got to scroll a lot. She spent a lot of time on X, I'm telling you. Here we go. This one surprised me. So she says, the GOP budget cuts to NOAA are set to take effect at the start of fiscal year 2026, which begins on October 1st, 2025. Anyone making the deaths of children in Texas about partisan politics is morally bankrupt. Please reflect. Now, this woman hates Trump. She don't like Trump at all. Multiple things can be said true at the same time. The funding cuts are bad. The tragedy in Texas was a tragedy. Not being able to hold those two beliefs and jumping in, they got what they voted for, will absolutely not move us towards any resolution. Extremely possible, even likely, that weather-related tragedies like this will increase in the future once cuts start to really take hold. What we need real action to fix this. So it will take tough conversations with the people who disagree, but those conversations cannot be had if one side is saying you got what you voted for. She got some major pushback on this. And she says this has been a major problem with both parties for years. I don't disagree with her at all. The GOP does it with Democrat-run cities rhetoric, and Dems do it with they voted for it rhetoric. I've always held folks accountable on this, so good for her. Thank you, Avocado Stay up in our small bullet tip jar. Appreciate it. He says, did you see these people losing their shit over this Shylock remark by Trump? No, I haven't even seen that yet. I'm sure I'll find it. Here. Oh, hey, Nita, maybe learn what you're talking about. More budget cuts are coming, but funds have already been rolled back and were allocated for infrastructure upgrades. The very upgrades that mitigate the risk of these kinds of tragedies. No, there is no infrastructure upgrade that would have mitigated anything about this flood. You dumbass. Sorry, not accurate, not true, not correct. Telling people this is what they voted for is not something advocating for a solution actively impedes progress on solutions. That's her answer to that. Good for her. And, you know, again, and Grok parrots what's on X unless you do deep shit. So this guy asked Grok, you were certain Doge cuts were partially to blame for the death toll in Texas. Does this information change your view? No, it doesn't change my view. Verified reports, AP, CBS, New York Times confirmed Doge cuts began in February, March 2025, slashing 20% off NOAA staff and impairing operations like weather balloons well before the Texas floods. These likely contributed to inadequate warnings and higher deaths, except it didn't. They had extra staff on. They did the warnings in the normal time frame that you expect on these kinds of things. It's a flash flood, you dumb. Oh my God. So apparently, Grok needs to learn how to deal with flash floods. But you can scroll down in this. I'm gonna leave this as a separate post. You can scroll down and see all the people arguing with Nina Turner on this. All she's saying is, you know. You're not moving the needle towards common ground if you're telling people they got what they deserved. And so there you go. There you go. You can't even, you know, you get pilloried on the left if you say anything against what their narrative is. All right. And then all the other things trending because of this. National Weather Service. Meteorologists in Austin, Texas, the National Weather Service did their job, and they did it well. Anyone using dead girls as some kind of political attack against Trump is evil and twisted. All I say is this: the National Weather Service issued a flood watch for Kerr County more than 12 hours ahead of the catastrophic flood. A flash flood warning was issued for Hunt and Ingram 3 hours before the Guadalupe started to climb. They did their job, and they did it well. But don't tell Rosie O'Donnell that, because she knows what really happened, and I'm doing this for Avocados Diablo
and
too.
What a horror story in Texas. The flash floods in Texas. The Guadalupe River.
Yes, Rosie.
51 missing. 51 dead, more missing. Children at a camp.
Whose fault is it, Rosie?
And you know, when the president guts all of the early warning systems and the weathering forecast abilities of the government, these are the results that we're going to start to see on a daily basis, because he's put this country in so much danger by his horrible,
Rosie, you're in Ireland,
decisions and this ridiculously immoral bill that he just signed into law. As Republicans,
when did he sign it into law, Rosie? What day did he sign that into law? That was Friday. Had nothing to do with this.
Cheered. As Republicans cheered. People will die as a result, and they've started already. Shame on him.
You are fucking retarded, woman. I'm sorry. You are fucking retarded. Michael Schellenberger, Trump cuts to the National Weather Service and climate change are to blame for the Texas flood, said the media yesterday. Today, most admit NWS did his job. The real problem was the lack of a flood warning system. Those who are to blame, who blame the climate, are trapped in a weird cult. There's 5 minutes of him talking about that. But here's the report. Here's the report from George Snuffleupagus. Blaming President Trump for the for this flood problem. ABC News. This is ABC. This is what you get from the mainstream media.
Maria, we're also learning that there were significant staffing shortfalls at the National Weather Service's offices in the region.
100% false. Now, are they? I'm curious if they're going to issue retraction because they had extra staff at the time.
You know, George, as of right now, the local county officials really didn't want to address that just yet. What they are telling us is they expected between 4 and 6 inches of rain. That is what weather experts told them, the National Weather Service as well. They also knew that in remote locations, they might get anywhere from 8 to 10 inches. But this amount of rain in such a short amount of time, it was very difficult to navigate. And when the Department of Homeland Security Secretary was here just yesterday, she acknowledged this was an issue. She was going to take these concerns to the White House as well and try and see if there was anything they could do to revamp the system. She says the president is committed to it.
Maria, thanks very much.
Kind of weird because, again, now we know that they actually had extra staff on for this time, and they did issue the warnings in the proper time frames. So maybe the communications is a problem. In fact, I got one other video of a gal here who kind of pulled this together into just one what do you call it? Just one piece. Let me grab this real quick. Is it? Nope. Next one. Hang on. All right.
This is not book-related content.
Now I'm going to finish with this, and it's 7 minutes long, but we're going to finish with this because it's important the things she's saying. She kind of gathered all the information and put it together in one video. So we'll start with here.
I'm going to start off and say that this is not book-related content. This is me coming as a degreed meteorologist, someone who is a meteorologist actively on TV right now, talking about what happened, the tragedy that occurred this past weekend in the Texas Hill Country. Before I break down the science and I break down the narration that's going around right now that no one was prepared, no one was warned. If you turn this political, please see yourself out of my comments right now. We are not talking about politics, okay, when it deals with the loss of life of so many human beings. So many who were children just wanting to go and enjoy summer camp. Now, with that being said, the narrative that's going around right now that no one was prepared, no one was warned is completely and totally false. If you choose to stay uninformed, that is on you. That is not on the people putting out the message. Firstly, it is not uncommon to see flash flooding in the Texas Hill Country. These riverbeds are made of limestone and a bunch of rocky soils. Of course, they're not going to be absorbing this water easily ever. Also, it's the Texas Hill Country, okay? So there's lots of ups and downs. There's a lot of canyons where these rivers become very narrow. So when you have flash flooding, it's gonna quickly funnel that water through and then pick up the speed of the water. So this is not uncommon. There are many major floods that have occurred down in the Texas Hill Country.
And there's a reason, for example, why Stevie Ray Vaughan has an album called Texas Flood. It's flooding down in Texas. It happens quite often, and especially in these regions. Now, this is more devastating than average, but it's not unusual.
2002, 1998, 1978. Okay, there are so many different events of major flooding that have happened down in these areas like Kerrville and along the Guadalupe River.
Thank you, Avocados Diabli. Dropping a small bullet tip jar saying flood warnings are only as effective as the number of people who listen to them. And a flash flood is not the water rising, pack your shit and take your time situation. Once you see the water rising, you're fucked. True. That is so true. Flash floods are no joke. They're no joke whatsoever. So there you go.
River, because it's prone to flooding. With that being said, the meteorologist didn't warn anybody narrative has to go away. Especially from Texas officials going around and pointing the finger and saying that this is because of the Doge cuts. This has not taken effect yet. In fact, the National Weather Service office down there, that's Austin and San Antonio, was overstaffed because they were prepared for this event. In a typical flooding event, they would have 2 meteorologists on staff, okay? They had 5 because they were ready for this event to happen. Now, to this scale, no. And that's why it's called a natural disaster, because you literally cannot prepare to the point that you see these types of things happen. There's no way to do that. But what they did do is issue a flood watch saying that the conditions are going to be favorable to see flash flooding, okay? That got issued Thursday afternoon. In that
The day
watch, there was a
before.
line mentioned that there could be isolated rain totals of over 10 inches of rainfall that would lead to flooding. It mentioned in flood-prone areas like the Guadalupe River that the rivers and the banks and the creeks were likely to go over their banks. That was issued on Thursday. Then going into Friday morning, a flash flood warning was issued at 1:13 a.m. So 3.5, almost 4 hours before the Guadalupe started to rise to that levels, saying that life-threatening flash flooding was getting ready to take place.
Now, and that's important too, because this happened in the middle of the night too. So, is this something about how their warning system works? Absolutely. And she's going to go into that, but this is at 1:30 in the morning. If I get a flash flood warning in the middle of the night where I live right now, I either won't hear it, or I'll be like, huh, and I'll go back to sleep because you just don't. Well, first of all, I wouldn't expect a flash flood where I live now because that'd be a huge act of God.
3 to 4 hours in advance before the Guadalupe even reached its peak, these flash flood warnings were already.
And also, no, she said at 1:15 was the first warning, 3 to 4 hours in advance of when the Guadalupe reached its peak. So it reached its peak at like 5 in the morning. So that's another problem.
Coming out for Kerr County for these areas that had the flooding. Now, I know it was the middle of the night, okay? In these areas, there is no cell service. I have gone to church camp my entire life in Ingram, Texas, which is right up the street from Kerrville, okay? It's literally like less than a 20-minute drive. I have been there, again, my whole life, and I know there's no cell service. I have also been at camp when the river has flooded.
That surprises me, too. There's no cell service in that area. I mean, have they fixed that yet? Apparently not. But that's how a lot of people get those kinds of warnings.
Before, so that's how I know these areas should be prepared for these types of situations. One thing I think has to change is any type of camp, whether it's along a river, it's in Oklahoma, okay, it's
this
in
is
the
a good point she makes here.
Every single camp, if children are going to be present, they need to have a NOAA radio. A weather radio saves.
She meant a NOAA as an N-O or N-A-O-O, N-O-A-A radio. The weather radios that basically can receive stuff anywhere. They're kind of annoying.
Lives, because it doesn't require there to be a phone connection. It doesn't require there to be internet. Those alerts are going to go off whether or not you lose power, and they are going to alert people because
that's a good idea.
So obnoxious. You cannot turn those off, okay? They are going to wake you up. In a situation like this, the flash flood warning would have been triggered at 1:13 in the morning. So if every single one of these cabins had them, okay, along the river, if people had them at these campgrounds and they were going off and it was really loud, people would have been well warned in advance, even if it was the middle of the night. I also think it's really bizarre that we have the technology now in place that there's not sensors along the river, that if the river reaches a certain level, a certain height, automatically sirens should start be going off in these towns.
Okay, so now she's getting like different infrastructure things they could do. Yes, there's certainly warning systems they could put together, but the idea that there was no warning is complete bullshit. And the idea that, the Trump Doge budget cuts they're missing people. No, the reason they're missing people is because there's a flash flood that happened in the middle of the night, and probably a lot of people ignored the warnings.
The river. We have tornado warnings, okay? We have outdoor warning sirens here, like in Oklahoma. Something should be in place like that along rivers that, again, if it reaches a certain height, it automatically triggers those. And so people start to hear those warnings and they know they need to get away from the water. Going back to the science, okay, it was 5:34 in the morning when the flash flood emergency came. Again, it was an emergency because it was saying if you do not get to higher ground, you are going to die. Now, not long after that, I think it was around 5:40, 5:50 is when the Guadalupe started to crest. So that's when it was reaching its highest level. And that came not too long after the flash flood emergency. Now, where did all this rain come from? Earlier on in the week, there had been a tropical...
Now, this is the part where I've been hearing a lot of little interesting conspiracy theories, especially the cloud salting or whatever they called it. But anyway.
System that had impacted Mexico. Its name was Barry, and it came up through Mexico and was going through the Rio Grande Valley, and then it kind of stalled right over Austin and Central Texas.
And that's what happened in my neighborhood 15 years ago or 20 years. I don't remember what it was. I just remember we were coming back from Omaha and we didn't even turn one way, and we went into our house, got into the cul-de-sac, and then we came out the next morning and we looked down the street and like, oh, those houses are flooded down there. What the hell?
Mixed with that low pressure system and then all the moisture that we have in the Gulf, it kind of created this perfect storm, if you will, that this just sat in one spot and just dumped so much rainfall over the next 2 days. Over 48 hours, so many places in the central Texas region, again, the Texas Hill Country, Austin, New Braunfels, along parts of San Marcos, so many different places, okay, had to deal with all this rainfall because there was so much moisture available from that tropical system and then also being next to the Gulf. Again, this was like the perfect storm of the worst case scenario, worst situation possible. But going around on social media and seeing people sharing things about that there was no warning, nothing came, you can never just fully unplug, okay? I know we live in a world where sometimes you don't want to be on social media, but you truly should never be so fully unplugged that you are not aware of your surroundings around you. And after a situation like this occurs, we should not be pointing the fingers and saying, you're to blame, you're to blame, you're to blame. We should all collectively just be praying for the families of those who still have...
Okay, you get the idea. Okay, he goes on a little extra long about this, but you get the point.
Missing people.
Oops, hang on a second here. I'm trying to close that. You can hang on to that for your viewing pleasure. I'll make a separate link for it. Oh, here, let's do this. Come on. There you go. Now it's a separate link if you want to listen to the rest of that. But you make several good points. The other things trending about this, FEMA, people are talking about whether or not FEMA is going there. Certainly there's already, in Texas, they have HEB, which was founded in Kerrville, and they're coming to rescue with disaster relief trucks in support of Kerrville communities seriously living in Texas, that we always take care of our own. Texans helping Texas. Lots of people already headed to help out in the Kerr County, Kerrville region. Camp Mystic. This is the camp where there was a camp. This is the one. Oh man. Anyway, so this Camp Mystic is this Christian camp for girls or whatever, and that's where a lot of the girls that are missing, 23 missing already, or 23 dead and a bunch missing, and they're giving some, tributes to some of these people that are missing, whatever. Apparently, some lady, a former market manager of the Freemantown Farmers Market and non-resident fellow at Princeton University, posted a video about how she said this is some white nationalist girls camp and all white girls, and they don't accept black people, whatever. And she's just running them down. I'm not going to play it. It pissed me off, but I'll leave a link for you to play it so you can see how this. Some people are just complete assholes about things, and we'll just leave that as a separate link in the chat today. Also trending, Kerrville. That's the county and town in Kerrville, Texas. Lots of video of the devastation and whatnot if you're interested, and also people coming to help. And then Grok is trending because of Grok's strange Grok tends to takes a compilation of things off of X unless you do a deep search where it goes outside of X. So for example, here it did give itself a correction. My previous response overstated the direct link between 2025 NWS cuts and the Texas flooding forecast failures. While the cuts reduced funding by 30% and staff by 18%, expert analysis showed they did not impair alerts for this event. Warnings were issued, but models underestimated the rainfall. The tragedy stems more from extreme weather patterns. I am for accuracy. Thanks for the feedback. It's like Grok will have a conversation with you about why they were wrong. Grok just exposed itself, funded by BlackRock, built with BlackRock. Oh my God. XAI, which built me, received funding from BlackRock in a Series C round and partners with them on AI infrastructure. Okay, whatever. And then let's see, what was the last one I had open here? Oh, that's just my videos for reactions. So guys, I think that's going to be it for today. I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. I know I didn't ask a whole lot about that, but I'll add the aggregator from Ace of Spades blog. There's a lot of good articles in there. I always check that every day for stuff. And then other than that, that's it. I am going to spend my day painting furniture because my car is wrecked. Not wrecked, but my car's in the shop. I had a major radiator leak this morning. And so I dropped it off. But If you would like to check the articles and things that I have linked or talked about today, there are links in the chat in 3, 2, 1. Here are the links. From today, there you go. Poof, in the chat, and they'll be in the description. That's it. I got to go. Thanks. Have a great day. My name is... Wait, what? I'm getting angry. Trucking was supposed to call this morning for a road test, P-test, and to get me in a truck. Nothing. No word yet. Oh, what happened? What happened? That's weird. Anyway, I hope that gets worked out, Zach. And everyone have a good day. I got to go. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I'm out here. Have a good day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.